This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. No one has greater love than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command you. I do not call you servants any longer, because the servant does not know what the master is doing. But I have called you friends, because I have made known to you everything that I have heard from my Father. You did not choose me, but I chose you. And I appointed you to go and bear fruit, fruit that will last, so that the Father will give you whatever you ask him in my name. I am giving you these commands, so that you may love one another. I am giving you these commands, so that you may love one another. I've got to be honest, I find the Gospel of John difficult sometimes. I find it difficult because it is so often so deep, so rich, that I occasionally find myself getting lost within it. I am giving you these commands so that you may love one another. On a basic level, this one sentence seems almost a throwaway summary of what Jesus had just been explaining, and it's easy to take it as such. You can hear it, understand it, and just accept it on face value. It seems so easy, doesn't it? We've just heard a version of the Golden Rule, which can be summarised by the accessible and easy principle of treating others as you'd like to be treated yourself. And that's simple enough, isn't it? And yet, not so much. Not so simple if you try to apply it to the cornucopia of the practical everyday realities that mark out our human existence. Stupid little humans that we are, we need rules to set the benchmarks for our own behaviour. We need the law to define what is right and what is wrong. But let's face it, we also don't much like being told what we can or cannot do. We like to consider ourselves masters of our own destiny. We like being in control. We certainly don't like to be told that we are doing wrong. Now, you might have missed it, and you're probably lucky if you have, but there's been a heated debate going on within the church over the past few weeks as to the decision by the Church of England to close its church buildings some 7 weeks ago. And frankly, it's not been terribly attractive, and at its core, it comes down to questions of the authority of bishops and the nature of our buildings. But in reality, some people just don't like the idea of being told what to do. Others question the legitimacy of there even being commandments that must be followed, and others are not happy about the detail of those instructions. But through it all, I am giving you these commands so that you may love one another. The second statement is a consequence of the first. The point Jesus is making is that his rules and instructions are an enabler of love. The rules enable us to love. Now, I have no doubt that the debate about our church buildings and when they should reopen will continue for some time, and I look forward to the day when we can again gather to worship together, to break the bread and share in the body of Christ physically as well as spiritually. But I've not often considered that these closure rules, amongst others, are possibly themselves an enabler of our ability to love one another, that our ongoing enforced social isolation and distancing gives us a new, or perhaps just a forgotten, ability to love. If we accept that the Church, the body of Christ, collectively seeks to be the living embodiment of the love that sustains the world, it logically follows that commandments faithfully and prayerfully derived within that body are themselves an expression of that love. The situation should enable us to love one another. And what does that look like? Perhaps now is the opportunity to think about how we might express that love. What gifts might we now be able to nurture and develop? And with whom might we share those gifts? As we look forward to Pentecost, we've been thinking a lot recently about the gifts of the Spirit, and this week we'll be reflecting upon the gift of peace. What can we do today, as a result of our ongoing social isolation and domestic lockdown, to bring more peace into the world? How might the ongoing commandment to stay at home enable us to promote peace in our own communities? I don't pretend it's an easy challenge, but it is the one with which we're presented today. So with that thought in mind, may I wish you all the best, and God's blessings be upon you and all your family. See you soon.